All right, we should be live now. What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. We got a 6 game slate. We'll keep the same schedule. We can go over what we know so far. We can look at some numbers. I'll talk about players, the prices, kind of who I'm targeting. I can give you guys my core, and then we can get to questions at the end. So, yeah, let's just jump right into it. Big news to start the day is no Al Horford. This is already an appealing spot for these Philadelphia guys going up against Atlanta. With no Horford, I have a lot of interest in those big three with Simmons, Embiid, and Tobias Harris. I think you're going to want to play at least one of those guys, maybe two. So, yeah, I really have a lot of interest in those three guys. Ben Simmons dealing with an illness. Not super concerned about that. He should be good to go. Jason Tatum is going to play. We just got news he's going to be in a 25 minutes limit. So I know it's only 25 minutes, but it kind of just takes the luster out of those other Boston guys. Like, they're all priced up to where, Tatum, they're priced up because Tatum was not playing the last few games. And now Tatum in. No one really stands out to me in Boston. Like, I get it if you land on one of those guys, but I would not go crazy in my Boston exposure. Let's see. Some of the stuff is for Friday. Luka ruled out, expected to miss a couple games. Mike Conley, rest. Thought he rested last night, but yeah, he's going to be out tonight. That actually is somewhat significant here for Utah. I think Joe Ingles probably gets a little extra run. He can run some backup point guard. I think Jordan Clarkson probably gets a little extra run. So Ingles and Clarkson are the two guys I think benefit the most there from Conley not playing. Now, Conley wasn't playing huge minutes, but 20 minutes, those have to go somewhere. So I think Clarkson, I think Ingles probably get a little extra run is my best guess. The Wizards came out with a questionable starting lineup for sure, with Isaiah Thomas, Beal, Peyton, Bonga, and Mahimi, not starting Thomas Bryant. The Washington-Charlotte game, I have no idea. That game could turn into a gold mine or just an absolute mess. Because besides Beal, Rozier, and Graham, I just have no idea what the Mets are going to be like. So it's really, that game in general for me is just a huge question mark. I really don't know what to do with it. Bryant coming off the bench just worries me with his minutes. Now, could he still get mid-20s minutes? He could, but coming off the bench, it just worries me. So I think Bryant now more of a play for GPP only. Kevin Porter won't have a minutes limit. Didn't really expect that. Pretty significant here, Gary Harris ruled out. Now, he wasn't playing big minutes, about mid-20s or so, but those minutes have to go somewhere. So I think Will Barton probably gets a little extra run. I think Monte Morris probably moves in the starting lineup. He was already playing pretty significant minutes. I think Malik Beasley should get more run. Should. But yeah, like I said, it's Mike Malone. You never really know. He could just add, Hernan Gomez. You can dust off something like that and just play them more minutes. Yeah, so that's kind of our thoughts with Gary Harris news. We have Ibaka starting. Kind of expected that. He should play about 30 plus minutes. OG Anunoby available. So Giannis questionable for Friday. Damian Jones starting at the center, moving John Collins to the 4. Sure, you can consider Damian Jones a value play, but there's definitely a real chance he could get some foul trouble, and not really the best spot either. Raptors starting Lowry, Fred VanVleet, OG, Siakam, and Ibaka. Hawks are starting Trae Young, Herter, Hunter, Collins, and Jones. Like I said, Jason Tatum limited to 25 minutes. So that's what we know so far. So let's take a look at some numbers here. Again, the Charlotte-Washington game is just such a question mark to me. I think it really could turn into a really good game for DFS purposes, or you could just see everyone play like 20 minutes and no one get there. But yeah, 227.5 over under. Wizards favored by 4. We have the Raptors and the Cavs, 223. Raptors are 10.5 point favorites. So there's some blowout risks here for sure, but no Marc Gasol. Again, that's a pretty significant boost to guys Serge Ibaka. I think guys like Siakam probably get a little extra on. OG Anunoby, I know they don't necessarily play in the same position, but everyone could get shifted down a bit. Like OG probably gets a little extra run. We have the 76ers and the Hawks sitting at 228.5 with the 76ers favored by 7 points. This is currently my favorite game to target. I'm really high on those two Philadelphia guys, and I also really like Trae Young. I don't think Trae Young's going to be that high owned tonight, but I just love his upside in this game. So, and then the last two games here, we have Golden State, Boston, staying at 224.5. 14-point favorites, Boston are, with Tatum back. Again, I'm okay if you land on one of those Boston guys, but no one really stands out right now for me. In the last game, late night hammer, definitely got some blowout risk in this one as well. We have Paul George coming back, 225 over under, Clippers here by 14 points. So we'll start with the first game, and unfortunately this is Charlotte-Washington because, like I said, there's so many question marks here. I think the guys who can target confidently are Graham and Rozier. Both of those guys should get mid-30s minutes in a close one. We just saw what I forget who played Milwaukee put up over 150 against Washington. So yeah, it's obviously one of the best spots here. Rozier, Graham, I'm perfectly fine if you land on one of those guys. I think I would give the edge to Rozier over Graham, but it's really close for me. And then, as far as these pieces here, I think you definitely can take shots for GPPs with this group of Washington, Zeller, Monk, Bridges, even Marvin Williams, I guess. I don't think I would go Hernan Gomez at 4.5, but like this next tier of guys, mainly Washington, Zeller, Monk, Bridges. I think you can take shots in these guys for sure. I think, probably one or two has a pretty solid game, really good spot, but the minutes are just all over the place for these guys. Kind of went over that in my video, right? PJ Washington could play 35 minutes, could play 20 minutes. You got Malik Monk, who can play 34 minutes or play 8 minutes, right? It's so hard to trust these guys in minutes. Bridges, 19, 31, 26. They're all over the place. So I really can't recommend any of those guys with confidence. I think probably at least one has a pretty solid game, but basically kind of like the Spurs guard situation that I always talk about with Mills, Forbes, DeJounte Murray, and who else? Derek White. It's always usually one of those guys, one or two has a pretty solid night, but trying to guess which one it's going to be and trying to guess who gets more minutes is like, it's so unpredictable. So it's Graham and Rozier for me that I can target confidently. Everyone else more of just taking shots for GPPs. On the Washington side, so Brad Beal at 9.4. Don't think he's going to be that high owned because of the price hike, but I still think he's viable here. 38 minutes in 3 of the last 4 games. We know he's going to shoot the ball a ton. And Charlotte, again, they played a slow pace, but they're not very good defensively. So I'm perfectly fine with Beal as a spend up. I think he's a little more contrarian tonight. And then everyone else, Bertans is priced up to 6.2. He's going to come off the bench, probably play 30 minutes. I think he's priced right. He can get hot from the 3-point line, so you can still consider him for GPPs. Troy Brown's been getting more run with no Jordan McRae. I'm fine with him off the bench as well. Doesn't really stand out as like a great play, though. And then Thomas Bryant, this is the big question mark. He's going to come off the bench. Played 32 minutes when he started against Milwaukee. But previously, 17, 17, 18. So if I knew Thomas Bryant was going to play, high 20s to 30 minutes, I would probably lock him in. But there is a real chance he could play less than 20 minutes. There's a good chance he could play close to 30. I don't know. So I don't know if I can go there for cash games. I think he's just more in play for GPPs. Obviously, we know the upside is here, right? And 32 minutes put up 44 fancy points. So it's just a question on whether or not he gets those minutes. And so I think he is certainly in play for GPPs. Again, I like his upside if he gets extended. Ish Smith at 4.6? Probably not for me. Mahimi starting at 4.5. Fine if you want to take a shot there for value play. But again, his minutes are way up and down. That's really it. So, this game could turn into a gold mine, but the minutes are the big question mark in this one. It's really hard to project guys' minutes besides like Beal, Rozier, Graham. Well, I guess, Bertans and Troy Brown, they should get about 30. But everyone else, it's kind of a toss-up. So that basically wraps up for that game. Hopefully that helped. I know it wasn't, the best breakdown, but that's really the best I can do with how those two teams run their rotations. Toronto and Cleveland. So no Marc Gasol is pretty significant. He was playing about 30 or so minutes before he got injured. So those minutes have to go somewhere. Ibaka is going to be the main beneficiary minutes-wise. He's going to start and probably play somewhere between 30 to 35 minutes would be my best guess. 7.1, I think that scares some people off. I still think Ibaka is very much in play. And we know Cleveland runs big, right? They usually have two traditional bigs out there. They start Thompson and Love. They bring Henson and Nance off the bench. So, I do have some interest here in Ibaka at 7.1K. I don't think that price tag makes him out of play. Also, Siakam at 80.4 is certainly viable. Again, I only saw 27 minutes because of the blowout there against Atlanta. But, realistically, maybe they could use him small ball 5. Probably not. I think Boucher and Ibaka should probably split the 5. But Siakam, there's probably a little more extra minutes to go around for him. Van Fleet and Lowry are certainly playable too. Again, this is a really good spot against Cleveland. The one concern here is just the blowout. But, I'm fine if you get to Van Fleet. I'm fine if you get to Lowry. Norman Powell at 6.3 is probably a little bit too expensive for me. He can still get you there, but he's got to knock down his threes. And then OG Anunoby, I think he plays a little extra, probably close to 30 at 5K, with no RHJ and no Gasol. Again, OG should probably get close to 30. And Chris Boucher is a viable punt option as well. I think we get somewhere between 15 to, on the very high end, like 25. And we've seen Chris Boucher, if in 15 to 20 minutes, he can have an upside game. So I think he is certainly a viable punt option here at 4.3 on a slate that really lacks value plays. So all in all, I'm pretty excited about Toronto in this spot. The one concern is the blowout, but the main 5 starters I have interest in with Siakam, Van Fleet, Lowry, Ibaka, and OG Anunoby, and then I'm fine getting to Chris Boucher as a value play. On the Cleveland side, not as much to like here. The price did come down in Love, but his minutes have been going down, even in a close game. That game against the Pelicans was close until I think the very end. Only saw 26 minutes. That's concerning. I still think he is viable for GPPs, but not going to be the way that I go. Sexton's too pricey. Larry Nance and Tristan Thompson have been splitting the center minutes. If you want to ride the hot hand with Nance, that's okay. I'm not going to, but I get it if you want to play him. He's been playing great basketball. Almost a triple-double there against the Pelicans. But, yeah, like I said, if you're a guy that likes riding the hot hand, I get it if you want to go Nance. Just not going to be the way that I go. And then Thompson, with Nance playing so well, just makes it tricky to get to him. His minutes have been down. Garland at 5.5. Don't think we have to go there. CD 4.6. I'll pass. I guess my favorite play here would be Kevin Porter Jr. at 4K. If we get about 25 to 30 minutes from him, he's a viable punt option, but nothing I'm going to be super excited about. That really is it for Cleveland. Not a lot I like here in this spot. So let's talk about Philly and Atlanta. This is definitely my favorite game to target on the slate. I know it's going to be popular, but man, I love the big 3 here with Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris. The concern with Embiid is he only played 26 minutes in a close game there against Golden State. So that is a little concerning that they might still ease him back into it, but 9.3K against Atlanta, that is just, he's going to be the chalk tonight, I think. I think he's going to be probably the most popular play tonight. I will be eating the chalk. I just love his upside. Again, the one concern is maybe they limit his minutes. Maybe he only gets 28 or 30. Even so, even if that's the case, I still think he can get you there. So, and if they extend him with no Horford, if they play him his normal minutes, 35 minutes, he could put up 70 fantasy points in this spot. So, yeah, Embiid, going to be really, really chalky. I don't see myself getting away from him, though. Also, really like Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris. They're going to have to do more offensively with no Al Horford. Ben Simmons did have an off game last game against Golden State. They ran with Raul Neto. I don't think Ben Simmons played at all in the second quarter. The illness, the upper respiratory illness, doesn't really bother me. 8.9K is certainly fair, and he's another guy that can have a huge upside game in this matchup. Tobias Harris, also like at this price. His minutes I don't really think are going to go up, but his usage will go up a little bit. He's a guy that's going to shoot the ball a ton. And if he knocks down those threes, he can have 40, 50 fantasy point upside. So I think those 3 Philly guys are going to be really popular tonight, but I love all 3 of those guys as spend-ups. Now let's talk about the value plays. Let me see if we have a starting lineup for Philly yet. Let's see. We got the Hornets starting lineup, but not the Philly starting lineup. At least I don't see it. Let me just confirm. Raptors, Wizards. Yeah, I don't see the Philly starting lineup. So I'm going to be interested to see what they do because no Al Horford, no Josh Richardson. Those are two guys that played, 30 plus minutes every single night. So those minutes have to go somewhere. I think Thibault, is still going to get big minutes, but it's just hard when he doesn't do anything offensively. Like, he really has to get you their blocks and steals. Otherwise, like this game where he got no blocks and no steals, he put up 12 fantasy points. This game where he had 5 steals and 1 block, still only put up 20 fantasy points. So he literally has to get you there in those peripheral stats and those just like the blocks and steals. Don't feel comfortable targeting him at 4.4. Now, Shake Milton has been getting some decent run at 4.2. I think he's an okay value play. Maybe gets a little extra run. Again, I'm interested to see what they do with the starting lineup. Oh, Quinn, I don't think I want to go there. I don't even know if he plays tonight. No, there's a chance he can, but they also have Norvel Pelle that they can use as a backup center. So don't feel great about who is it going to be to back up Joel Embiid. If I knew it was going to be Kyle Quinn, if I knew Kyle Quinn was going to play like 15 minutes, I would like him as a value play, but I think there's a chance he gets a DNP, so I can't really recommend that with confidence. Neto, I'll pass after that big game. He's not a very high usage guy. I know he put up 28 and 21 minutes, but I will let others chase that. Korkmaz is interesting. He could get some more run. He's pretty scoring dependent, though, so he's got to knock down those threes. Again, they have a lot of guys, right? They can use Mike Scott for a bit. They can use James Ennis. So I'm okay if you take a shot in one of these cheap guys, but I don't think like one guy really stands out to me as far as these value guys go. Again, I'm going to be interested to see who they end up starting, but I'm okay taking shots here and there. Really, though, the main interest is the top 3 guys with Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris. On the Atlanta side, so I like Trae Young a good amount at 9.9K. I don't think he's going to be that popular tonight just because of this price tag. But he is a guy that's almost matchup proof. He can put up big games in bad matchups. And we know he's going to shoot the ball a ton. We know he's going to play big minutes. His assists have been going up. Look at his assists recently. 13, 14, 16, 15. He's going to get close to 40 minutes in a close game. I know Philly's pretty solid defensively, but I just have a good amount of interest in Trae Young as a spend up. I don't think he's going to be that high owned tonight. As far as John Collins at 7.8, I'll pass. He's someone I really consider when Trae Young misses. Herter 5.3 has been getting big minutes. I'm okay with him at that price. DeAndre Hunter, kind of the same thing at 4.7. I'm fine with it. Reddish, probably not for me. Jeff Teague is more of a dart throw, but he can get you there if he's knocking down his threes. Damian Jones is going to start at the center position. Probably gets into the 20s if he stays out of foul trouble. They don't really have a whole lot of other options because Alex Len is out, Bruno Fernando are out. So Damian Jones probably is their best bet to guard Embiid. But if he gets in foul trouble, Collins will probably have to play big minutes. So, yeah, I'm okay with Damian Jones, the value play at this price. Again, we probably get into the 20s minutes if he stays out of foul trouble. He's just a pretty low usage guy, and it's a bad matchup. So, all in all, my main interest there is Trae Young at the top. I'm okay with Herter. I'm okay with Hunter. I'm okay with Damian Jones, but nothing I'm super, super excited about there. Move on to Golden State and Boston. So, Golden State side, I think the top value play right now, as nervous as it makes me say it, is Marquise Chris at 4.5. He got 31 minutes the last game against Philly. Now, I don't know if we can expect that again, but I think we probably get somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. And he's a pretty productive guy when he gets minutes. 4.5K, this slate really doesn't have a lot of standout value plays. So I do have a good amount of interest in Chris. I think I'll probably eat the chalk here. He's going to be pretty popular in my opinion, but there's just not a whole lot of ways to go to save money on the slate. So I do have a good amount of interest there in Chris. D'Angelo Russell, I do like as well. I think he's going to go super, super low owned, but we've seen him have big games in bad matchups. Against the Pacers, they're a pretty solid team. 51. Against Philly, 50. So if Golden State's going to stay in this one, it's going to be because of D'Angelo Russell. So if you're a guy that's targeting one of those Boston guys, maybe run it back with D'Lo for correlation there. But yeah, I think D'Angelo Russell is still very much viable at this price. More of a contrarian option because of the matchup, but if Golden State's going to keep it close, we probably get 40 to 50 fantasy points from D'Angelo Russell. So he is very much viable there, and I don't think he is that high owned because of the matchup. Draymond Green at 5.9. The good thing with him is the minutes, 36, 32, and 33 in close games. So we probably get over 30 from him if this game stays close. He's a guy that gets those peripheral stats. So yeah, the matchup's not great, but the price tag certainly makes him in play as well. I don't think I get to Burks or Robinson or Lee or Pascal or Spellman. So that's really it. I think it's Chris, D'Lo, and Draymond Green are the guys I'm interested in the Golden State side. On the Boston side, with Jason Tatum back, that's really just hurts everyone. I know he's only going to play 25 minutes, but obviously you can't play Tatum himself. But it just takes me off guys like Kemba, Hayward, Brown, and Smart. I'm fine if you land on one of those guys, but again, 14-point spread. There's a real chance the game blows out. Tatum playing takes a hit to everyone's usage. So I could see one of these Boston guys for sure getting you there, but I don't think anything really stands out for me on Boston. Tice at 6.1, a little bit too expensive, even with no Cantor. So yeah, Boston's just a team I'm not really that excited about. Like, probably Kemba is the guy I would play if I was going to play one, just because I think he has the most upside. He's very, very up and down, and a very frustrating player to roster for DFS. He's been up there with like Jokic this season. It's just so up and down. 28 in a good spot against Detroit, and 62 against Milwaukee, right? 26 in a good spot against Memphis, 60 in a tough spot against Orlando. So up and down, but at least the upside is there for him. So if I was going to play someone in Boston, it would be Kemba. But that's really it for Boston. So let's talk about Sacramento and the Clippers. On the Sacramento side, I think De'Aaron Fox at 7.6 is certainly doable. This is not really a good spot against the Clippers. Clippers are pretty solid defensively. Pat Beverly, good defender. Obviously, Paul George and Kawhi. If Sacramento's going to stay in this one, there's definitely some blowout risk. If they're going to stay in this one, probably be on the backs of Fox or Hield or Bogdan. Probably a couple of those guys are going to have big games. So if your guy's going to target, Kawhi or Paul George or Lou Williams or Montrez, maybe run it back to one of these Clippers guys. Me, honestly, I don't have. I think I have one player in this game, and that's it. But yeah, there's just not a whole lot I'm really excited about. Hield at 6.8 has been playing well off the bench, but only 23 minutes. Like, his minutes are down. Bielitsa has been getting good run. He had a really bad game that last game against OKC, but they've been using him at the 5 a bit. Like, Dedmon and Giles probably split some center minutes, but again, they can use Bielitsa. Dedmon saw 23 at 3.7. He's a viable punt option. Nothing you're going to feel great about. Giles, more of the riskier play because he's not going to play as many minutes. Bazemore, 4.1. I guess, but yeah, there's just not really a whole, like Bogdan. I think Bogdan's probably my favorite play at 4.8. I know he had a big game the last game, but we probably get mid 20s minutes from him. He's a guy that probably gets 20 to 25 fantasy points. Like, I'm okay with him at this price, maybe a little bit more. But honestly, there's just not a whole lot I can get really excited about. Like, if you think Sacramento keeps it close, then you can target Fox or Hield or Bogdan or Bielitsa, but there's a real chance the game could blow out with a fully healthy Clippers team. So let's talk about the Clippers now. Another team that, honestly, I don't have a whole lot of interest in. Kawhi Leonard at 10.8 is just more of a contrarian tournament play, in my opinion. With Paul George available, there's just 10.8K is too expensive in my opinion. Now, can he still get you there with Paul George playing? Sure, he can. But I just think there's better spend-ups, better ways to go. I like the Philadelphia guys a lot more as far as spend-ups. with Embiid, with Ben Simmons, with Tobias Harris. I also prefer Trae Young. So I don't see myself getting to Kawhi here at 10.8. He's a guy that if I was playing the late slate, I would definitely consider. But on the main slate, he's more of a contrarian option. Paul George himself probably going to be limited. We don't know his minutes yet, but I don't think I can play him at 8.2 unless he's going to be on like no minutes restriction, but I assume he is with the hamstring. That kind of takes Montrez and Lou Williams out of play for me with Paul George back. I think my favorite plays here, can't go 5K for Shamit either. I think my favorite plays here would be Pat Beverly at 4.9, who, if he's not going to be limited, I would have interest because we probably get 25 to 30 minutes from him in a close game, or even Ivica Zubac at 4K. We probably get, close to 20 minutes from him. He's a pretty solid point per minute guy, so I'm okay with him as a value play. Everyone else, though, with Paul George back, that takes everyone else out of play. Like I can't go Green or Harkless or Magruder. So all in all, there's really not a whole lot I like in this game either, or on the Clipper side, I should say. Let's talk about Utah-Denver. So this is late night hammer here, and I believe it's the lowest over/under of the day. 215.5. But this is right now where I'm getting some of my value. So there's no Mike Conley. He was playing 20-ish minutes a game. Those minutes have to go somewhere. I think Joe Ingles at 4.9. I think he gets a little extra run. He could run the point a bit. And I also like Jordan Clarkson a good amount of 4.1. I think we probably get close to 30 minutes from him. His usage should go up a bit. So Ingles and Clarkson are guys I'm definitely considering as far as value guys go. You could look to Royce O'Neal at 4.1, but I like the upside a little bit more with Clarkson and Ingles. As far as really cheap guys, I think Tony Bradley is questionable, so they could dust off Ed Davis at the flat minimum. Maybe Gobert gets in foul trouble. I don't know. That's a super, super dart throw, to be honest. Moutier maybe gets in the rotation, but not enough for me to consider him. And then Bojan is a little too... I just never get excited about playing Bojan. He's too scoring dependent for my liking. He did have a surprising 4 assists, 9 rebound game. Normally, he's a guy that gets like 1 or 2 rebounds, 1 or 2 assists, and then all points. So I'm fine if you go there for GPPs. He's just never a guy I consider for cash. I think Donovan Mitchell at 7.2 stands as a pretty solid option. I know Denver not necessarily the best spot, but they're missing a lot of pieces, right? No Gary Harris. He was a pretty solid defender. No Paul Millsap. He was a good defender. So they're missing a lot of pieces here. So I think Donovan Mitchell does stand out as a pretty good option here in the mid-tier. If you're going more of a balanced approach, I think he's a pretty safe option at this price. Don't mind Gobert at 8.1. I would personally, and I think a lot of people would favor Embiid over Gobert, but you're going to go Gobert at a lot lower ownership. So all in all, I think they're actually, even though this game's a low over-under, I have a good amount of interest in some of these guys. Like I think Donovan Mitchell's a pretty good play at 7.2K. I like Joe Ingles at under 5K. I like Jordan Clarkson at 4.1 with no Conley. I'm okay if you want to get to O'Neal. So yeah, there really isn't like any good value plays in the slate. I think this game is where I'm getting some value. And then the Denver side, so still no Jamal Murray, no Paul Millsap, no Mason Plumlee, and no Gary Harris. So Jokic at 10.1 I think is a good contrarian play. I know it's a bad spot. His ownership is probably going to be under 10%, but you could always play Embiid and Jokic together, or you could fade to high own Embiid and just hope that they limit Embiid to like 26 minutes again, and then you get a low own Jokic. I'm okay going there over Embiid for tournaments as a pivot option because he's been playing huge minutes. His usage is insane with all those guys out. So I think Jokic is still in play, but more of a contrarian spend up. I'm okay with Jeremy Grant at 6.4. He's been getting big run, playing the backup 5. He's been really safe, so I think he's a pretty solid play there in the mid-tier. Don't mind Will Barton. He's been so bad, but he should get more minutes than no Gary Harris. Maybe this is the game where he finally breaks out. You're getting him at a pretty cheap price, so I think he's viable. MPJ at 5.7 maybe gets a little extra run, but the main concern here is just the minutes, 24, 24, and 22. I'm fine with him for GPPs. Monte Morris, I assume they start him. I think he's an okay option as well. And then Torrey Craig, probably not for me at 4K. I think there's better value plays in my opinion. I think Malik Beasley is interesting at 3.5. I'd assume he gets more minutes with no Gary Harris. My best guess is he gets like mid-20s minutes. If that's the case at 3.5K, I think he's a solid, cheap option. But you guys know who his coach is. It's Mike Malone, right? They could still play him 15 minutes, and they could dust off PJ Dozier. They could dust off Hernan Gomez. So there's no guarantee, but there's really not a whole lot of great value plays right now. So leads me to, I'm okay taking a shot at Beasley there at 3.5. I think he should get more runs. So all in all, Jokic, I think is a good spend-up contrarian play. I think Jeremy Grant's pretty safe. Don't mind Will Barton. I think you could buy low on him. MPJ, a little more risky. Monte Morris, I'm fine with. And then Malik Beasley as a value play should, keyword should, get more minutes. But yeah, let me check Fantasy Labs one more time here, and then we can get to my core, and then I can get to questions at the end. Let's see. Still nothing yet as far as the Philadelphia starting lineup. So, what do I want to give you guys for my core today? So spend up. I think Embiid. I think you want to play at least one of these Philadelphia guys. This amazing spot. I'm gonna go Embiid. He's gonna be really popular, but I'll be eating the chalk there. Again, you can fade him if you want. I think there are. I don't even put him at the centers. Keep putting in utility. I think you can go other ways, but I'll be eating the chalk there at 9.3. What else do I want to give? I'm going to Marquise Chris. I know he's going to be popular, but there's really nothing that stands out as far as value. So I think Marquise Chris is a pretty solid value play if we get mid-20s minutes from him. And then, let's see. I would try to get one more of those Philly guys in there. I really would. I'm in love in this spot. I guess there's a chance the game blows out, but trying to get Ben Simmons or Tobias, throw Ben Simmons in there. Again, you can go either way. If you want to save a little bit of money, you can go Tobias. And then, as far as another value play, let's see. I think, it's Clarkson or Ingles. Let's go Joe Ingles at 4.9. Again, I'm fine with Clarkson as well, but I think 4.9K is a pretty solid price for Joe Ingles. So yeah, there it is. That's the core today with Ben Simmons, Embiid, Chris, and Ingles. Again, there's a lot of different ways you can go, but this is the game I feel most confidently targeting, the Philly-Atlanta game. And then, again, Charlotte-Washington is a big question mark for me. Toronto-Cleveland, there's a good amount to like on the Toronto side, but some blowout risk. Golden State-Boston, definitely some blowout risk there. Sacramento, the Clippers, blowout risk, and then Jazz and Denver. So this slate is not very fun, but this is the way that I'm going to go. So let's get some questions here. I'm locking in Mitchell and Tobias. Yeah, so I like Donovan Mitchell a good amount. I think he's a pretty safe cash game play. Again, I would be perfectly fine if you go without Ben Simmons, if you go Donovan Mitchell there. I am perfectly fine with that. I really like Donovan Mitchell at his price at 7.2K. So yeah, if you want to go that way and you want to go Tobias or something like that, that's fine as well. Let's see. Beal or Embiid, cash, got to choose one. I think it's Embiid. I do like Beal's upside, but I think it's Embiid. 5K utility, already have Ingles and Bogdanovich. 5K utility, already have Ingles and Bogdanovich. Let's see. I think I'll go OG at 5K. I think we get probably close to 30 minutes from him. I'm okay with him. Other than that, him or Pat Beverly. If Pat Beverly is not going to be limited, I would probably prefer Pat Beverly, but don't know for any of that news in time. On FanDuel, 5,600 for Ibaka is a lock, right? Yes, I would probably lock in Ibaka there on FanDuel. I'm going Kemba, Korkmaz, Reddish, Collins, Embiid, Beal, Spillman, and Biyombo. Good luck, everyone. Yeah, that's a riskier lineup for sure. Clarkson, Bogdan, Kings, PJ Washington, or Damian Lee, Bryant, and Reddish. I think I would go with the first option there. Harris or Simmons. Obviously, if you can get to Ben Simmons, I like his upside more. But if you want to save money, I would prefer Ben Simmons over Tobias Harris, but I'm fine saving money on Tobias. My cash line is Kemba, Ingles, Bogdan, Tobias, Embiid, Barton, Chris, and Troy Brown. I think it's a pretty good cash lineup for sure. Thoughts on Damian Lee? I'm okay with Damian Lee and Golden State. I think I would probably prefer Marquise Chris to him. Where is he? He's 4.6. He's been bad recently, but you're getting him at a cheap price. Graham, Mitchell, Draymond, Devontae Graham, Donovan Mitchell, Draymond, Chris, Embiid, Beasley, Harris, and Ingles. I think it's a pretty good lineup. Draymond, Beal, Bojan, Chris, Embiid, Bogdan, Nance, Mahimi for cash. Mahimi and Nance are questionable cash plays. I think they're viable for GPPs, but I don't know if I would go there for cash. How do you feel about Mitchell, Beal, Ingles, Harris, Tice core? Yeah, so I like Donovan Mitchell a good amount. I think Beal a little bit more contrarian. I think Ingles is pretty solid, as well as Tobias Harris. Tice, a little bit expensive for me, so I'm not super excited about that. Young, Russell, Bogdan, Chris, Ibaka, Beasley, Harris, Zeller. Yeah, so I like that for GPPs. You're going to get some low-owned guys with Trey, with D'Angelo Russell. And then Zeller should be a bit low on too. Bryant and Cash, I don't think I can do it just because I don't know if he plays 20 minutes or 30. Again, that Washington-Charlotte game is such a headache for me. I really don't know what to do with people's minutes there. Is Embiid a must-play on FanDuel for cash? What's his price on FanDuel? I mean, I can bring it up. Let's see. Are you loving the Raptors? I do like the Raptors. The way my build right now, though, I don't have anyone in. I'm kind of going the game stack there with Philly and Atlanta. I really like those Philly guys. I like Trae Young. I don't think Trae Young's a cash game play, but I love his upside. So that's the way I'm building my lineup. Let's see. Center, let me look at it. So you got Jokic at 10.2, Embiid at 9K, Chris at 4.8. Yeah, I mean, I would probably play Embiid and move on. Russell, Van Fleet, or Mitchell, best to worst. So I think Mitchell is definitely your cash game play there. I think D'Angelo Russell is my favorite GPP play. So in cash games, I would go Mitchell, Fred Van Fleet, Russell. In GPPs, I would go Russell, Mitchell, Van Fleet. Best 2 point guards besides Simmons. Best 2 point guards besides Ben Simmons. Again, I love Trae Young. I'm playing Trae Young tonight, but that's a riskier build. I mean, Lowry's pretty solid at 7.5. Don't mind Rozier. Is Donovan Mitchell point guard? No, he's only shooting guard. That's a tough question because I don't know. That is a tough question because I think there's a lot of different ways you can go, and no one really stands out as like a great play for me point guard wise. Again, I think like Lowry. I think if you're going for safety, it's probably like Lowry or Fred Van Fleet, or Rozier, Graham, or Kemba's pretty solid too. Thoughts on Mahimi? Just more of a GPP play because those minutes are very up and down. But I could see Mahimi having a big upside game for sure. Haven't Biyombo been out of the rotation? He has been. Thoughts on Lowry and Michael Porter Jr.? I mean, I think Lowry's pretty safe. MPJ, a little riskier, but should maybe a little extra run. We've seen big upside games from him. D'Lo or Van Fleet? I think it's definitely Fred Van Fleet for cash. Whereas D'Lo, I love D'Lo's upside for GPPs, but there's significant blowout risk there. Rudy Gobert pivot. You can pivot to Gobert. Green, Beal, Harrison, Embiid, PJ, Porter, Chris, Mahimi. Yeah, that's perfectly fine with me. Again, Mahimi, his minutes are kind of up in the air. PJ Washington, you guys know my concerns with those guys. Their minutes are a little bit up and down. Beal and Bertans are Embiid and Grant. I got to go Embiid, Grant there. Do you see All-Star reserves? Agreed with all of them, but I haven't seen it yet. No, I'll look at it. Agreed with all of them, but would have had Book over Chris Paul. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know if Chris Paul should have made the. He's been solid this year, but All-Star, yeah, it's questionable. Thoughts on Jokic? I like him. I think he's more contrarian. Everyone's me and Embiid. I think Embiid's your cash game play. Jokic for GPPs. Do you like Rozier for cash? I think you can play Rozier for cash. I think you can, but his range of outcomes are so big, Rozier. Like he can have 15, he can have 50, but it's a really good spot. So I would lean towards more, him having a higher upside game. Simmons or Trey, I'm playing both. I'm playing Simmons, Trey, and Embiid. But that's just, I've been playing mostly GPPs this season, so I've been going a little bit more risky. Bertans, let's see. Dallas Bertans, fine. Simmons, Bogdan, Barton, Tobias, Chris, Embiid, Clarkson, PJ Washington for cash. Yes, I actually like that a good amount. I think it's a pretty safe lineup. You have all three Philly guys, yeah, and you fit in some value plays there. Yep, I think that's good. Fox low owned tonight. I do think he's gonna be low owned. If they're gonna keep it close, I think Fox would have a big game. People are going to sleep on the late game on national TV. Houses for GPP DK. Let's see. Graham, Clarkson, way underpriced. Jingle Joe. Yep, I love Joe Jingles. Bridges, Grant, Malik Beasley, Beal, and Embiid. Yep, I like that a good amount for GPPs. Rozier, Bogdanovich, Simmons, Nance, Ibaka, Ingles, Grant, Chris GPP. Yep, perfectly. I don't see any issues with that either. Morris or Burke for guard. Morris or Burks. I'd probably go Monte Morris. I think he starts. I think he probably gets over 30 minutes. Probably. Again, Mike Malone. You could always see him dust off PJ Dozier, and if he plays well, they could limit Monte Morris. You just never really know for certain there. Do you have 2 or 3 Sixers? I have 2. My lineup is Ben Simmons, Embiid, and Trae Young. But that is definitely a GPP lineup. I'm taking a lot of shots at some cheap guys. Let's see. Simmons, Bogdan, Barton, Tobias, Chris, Embiid, Clarkson, PJ Washington for cash. Yep, that's good with me. Rozier, Barton, or Clarkson, Embiid. I already have 2 Utah. Rozier and Barton or Clarkson and Embiid. I think I go Clarkson and Embiid there. It's close, but I think I go Clarkson and Embiid, even though you already have 2 Utah. Tobias and Donovan Mitchell, my fave plays of the night. Yeah, I mean, you could really make a good balanced lineup if you wanted to. There's a good amount of solid mid-tier plays, right? Donovan Mitchell, I think he's a really solid mid-tier play. Tobias Harris is the cheapest of those Philly guys if you want to save money. He's a pretty solid mid-tier play in my opinion. Let's see what else do we have. You could realistically make a good lineup here. Again, those 2 games locked, but you could go Rozier or Graham or Ibaka. I know the game's already locked, but you could realistically make a pretty solid mid-tier lineup. Something like start with that or something. I don't know. So there's a good amount of ways you can go. Again, I told you guys what I'm doing. I'm stacking this game. I think that game has the most upside as far as GPP potential for game stack. So that's what I went with. But let's see. Alec Burks season. Could be. Not super excited about him, though. Ingles or Bogdanovich is tough for me. That is tough. I think I would go Ingles over Bogdan, but it's close. Good luck and thanks. Thank you, DK. Good luck. Of course, man. A Malik Beasley value play. I'm playing Malik Beasley. I'm taking the shot. It's Mike Malone, though. That's all you got to know. Rozier, 11% owned. Beal, 28%. Yeah, I didn't expect them to be too high owned. How many minutes do you think Beasley gets? I would guess 20 to 25, but you just never know. He could add another guy to the rotation. Just going off what we've seen recently from Beasley. 31, 18, 26, 17. So kind of up and down, but no Gary Harris. I think there's a better chance he hits that higher end of the minutes where not the lower end, right? So that's my best guess. OMG, I took a risk with Boucher. Hey, I like Chris Boucher at less than 1% owned. I like that play a lot. He was a pretty solid value play. We know Cleveland runs big. There's a chance the game blows out. He gets even more run. I like that a good amount, Boucher. Best Philly guy after Ben, Joel, and Harris. That kind of depends on the starting lineup. Do we have a starting lineup yet? I haven't seen one. I still haven't seen one. It's so tough. I would say Korkmaz probably has the most upside of these fringe guys, just because he can get hot from the 3-point line, but he's very scoring dependent. I don't know. I don't have a great feeling on those guys. Like Shake Milton or Korkmaz, I guess. Beal 31% pick and roll. Ibaka only 12%. I like that. I have all three Sixers and Russell on DK. No Trey. Hey, I mean that lineup has a lot of upside, a lot. And D'Angelo Russell's gonna be very, very contrarian. Thanks, DK. Of course, man. I want Simmons, Terrence Davis, OG, Harris, Ibaka, Clarkson, Chris, and Embiid. Yeah, so I think Terrence Davis could get a little extra run here. He's at 3.9. I think he gets anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes, so he's a viable punt at that price. I guess I'm okay with that. Let's rake the cake. Good luck. Thanks for everything. Of course, man. I took Kevin Porter Jr. with no minutes restriction at 14% as a value play. I'm fine with that. I think we probably get mid-20s minutes. Not really the best spot. Porter, the nuts, Beasley, Snowflake. DK, I watch every day and appreciate all the work you put in this. Thank you so much. Hey, appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of work for sure. Doing the videos and the live streams about probably 2 hours a day. But I love doing it. This is a dream for me to do DFS full time. So going to continue to grind and hopefully make that dream happen. Let's see. Mike Scott revenge. If he starts, I would have some interest there. But again, I don't know the starting lineup yet. On the Express slate, it shows who's starting. On FanDuel Bro, it shows who's starting for Philly. Yeah, but I haven't seen. I don't think FanDuel's right unless, let's see. I don't trust that unless I see it on Fantasy Labs. Yeah, I don't see that starting lineup yet, so I would not trust that. Mike Scott, yeah. Let's see. DK, thanks for always, DK. Really need my fortunes to turn around tonight. Hey, I hope it does, man. Hope it's a big night. If the Raptors game don't blow out, Raptors fire. Yeah, I mean, I have an interest in any of those starters and Boucher off the bench. Everyone for free content. Thanks, man. But yeah. I can go over some other ownership. Let's see. So I joined the $44 tournament tonight on Draftkings. Let's see what we got. Thomas Bryant is 15%. Ibaka 9%. Let's see, what else do we got? Kevin Porter Jr. 9. I don't think there's going to be a lot of high-owned guys in this game. Well, I guess the Raptors. Wait, I'm curious to see what we got for ownership for Toronto guys. Ibaka's pretty low owned. Kevin Love at 6%. It's looking like people are having the same idea as me as loading up on the Philly guys. I mean, I know they're going to be pretty popular. Okay, let's see. Beal 24%. Bridges 11. PJ Washington 9. Mahimi 3. Tristan Thompson 4. Let's see what else we got. Ish Smith at 12. John Henson at 0.7. 14% for Devontae Graham. Let's see. Troy Brown at 9%. I don't see a lot of Toronto guys. Yeah, have you guys seen Lowry, Fred VanVleet's ownership? Beal 25%. Even at elevated price, I'm a little surprised Ibaka's low owned. I am too. I didn't play Ibaka, but I liked him. I don't see Lowry or Fred VanVleet anywhere, or OG. I don't see any of these Toronto guys, unless I'm not going crazy, right? This is a 6 o'clock game. At least in the high dollar. Well, if you consider $44 high dollar, but. I don't see anyone here. Let's see. Rozier 6%, then Graham 14, Monk 1, Troy Brown 9. So that leads me to believe a lot of random stuff so far. Yeah, so with everyone being pretty low owned, that leads me to believe that those Philly guys are going to be really chalky. All three, I think, are going to be really chalky. I think, who else? I think Donovan Mitchell is going to be really popular as well. I think the chalk tonight, my best guess is going to be Donovan Mitchell and those Philadelphia guys. I think Kemba will get some ownership too, even with Tatum back. The Kings side, nothing really stands out there, and there's blowout risks. The Clippers, Paul George back, so I don't think they got a lot of guys going to be high owned there. I think, Chris. So he's going to be chalky too. So I think the chalk tonight is going to be this. My best guess here is going to be Ben Simmons, Tobias, Embiid, Marquise Chris, and Donovan Mitchell. Like, though these guys are going to be the highest owned, my opinion. Yeah, you could realistically make a lineup like that. But I think that is going to be a really chalky lineup and then get value from there. So that's always, I think that's a pretty safe option just off what we're seeing. I think a lot of these guys are going to go high owned. So would not be opposed to running something like this for cash games. Let's see. I think a lot of ownership in the Philly, but I don't see anything except Beal. Siakam 7.7 in the $40. Okay. Lowry 8% in the $4. Lowry 6.6. And Embiid will probably be over 50%. Philly line just came out. Oh, it did? Let's go. What is it? Let's see. Ben Simmons, Shake Milton, Thibault, Harrison, and Embiid. There's just I feel like I should like more of these secondary Philly guys, but they have a lot of guys they can use still. Like, they're gonna Shake Milton and Thibault are starting, but they're gonna use one of either O'Quinn or Norvell Pelle to back up Embiid. They're gonna use Neto, Korkmaz, Mike Scott, and James Ennis, maybe even Trey Burke too. So I can't really, I'm fine taking a shot at Milton or Korkmaz. I think Korkmaz probably has the most upside, but nothing I feel great about there. Thibault starting. Yeah, I mean, Thibault has been starting. My whole issue with him is he really has to get the blocks and steals to get you there. Like, his upside is 20, 25. 25 on a really good night. He had 25 here with 3 blocks and 2, or 4 blocks and 2, whatever. He has to get those blocks and steals. But yeah, like I said, I think that's a pretty solid way to go for cash games for sure. I like Harrison and Embiid. Yeah, I mean, those Philly guys, in my opinion, are going to be the absolute chalk for sure, and Donovan Mitchell too. I think Donovan Mitchell is going to be very, very popular. But I'm gonna get out here, guys. Been streaming here for about an hour now, so really do appreciate all you guys coming to check out the live stream. I'm going to eat some dinner, and then I'll probably have my video up later tonight for the Friday slate, so be on the lookout for that. Good luck. I think Beal over Simmons, I don't know. Yeah. Good luck, everyone. Hope you guys win some good money, and I will see you all tomorrow.